From New Delhi to Toronto, a direct flight will take more than 15 hours. Today, our guest Sanjeev will share his work experience in India and Canada. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Career Globalization with Winnie. Today, we have our guest Sanjeev here. Hi, Sanjeev.
Hey Candice, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good as well. Thank you. So excited to
So
talk to
happy
you
to
over
have
here.
you here. I met Sanjeev at my previous job in Canada in a bank. Sanjeev came to Canada from India. So I'll turn it to you, Sanjeev. Can you tell us more about yourself, your work experience?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Candice, first of all, for the introduction. And I'm really excited to actually talk to you. So, hello, everybody. I am Sanjeev, and I'm originally from India. I have a bachelor's degree in computers and MBA in finance, both of which actually I completed in India. I have been living in Toronto, Canada from past 4 years, currently working as a senior manager in enterprise risk for RBC. So I would like to say that my move to Canada was not at all planned. Basically, I joined consulting arm of a technology company,
Uh-huh.
Cognizant, and RBC just happened to be a client over there.
I
So
see.
indirectly, I had a head start. Basically, that I was working for a Canadian company even before I came to Canada. So
Ah,
that helped my cause a bit better. And after coming over here, I think I came over here first of all on a work permit. And after working for around a year or two, I actually got my permanent residence.
mhm.
And that is when I was able to move to another company, which is where Candice I met you.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm interested in like when you still working in India and you said like you even though you were physically in India, but you were actually working for a Canadian company. So comparing to like working in India but for a Canadian company versus actually working in Canada and for working in for a Canadian company, how do you feel? Like, are there any differences?
Yes, Candice, actually. So I'll come to two different things that I'll talk about. One, I'll talk about the work culture, and then the second, I would talk about the job market itself.
Yeah.
So first, I'll actually address the job market part first. I think based on my experience in combination of technology and finance sector split across India and Canada,
Mhm.
I think there is a major difference in the job market itself. The reason being, in India, there is a presence of almost all the multinational banks, like be a US bank or a European bank or any other bank. And that is apart from all the domestic banks which are already present over there. While in Canada, you have like five or six banks actually,
So
which are
true.
spread
Uh,
across Canada. Yeah. So that way, Canada market is relatively very closed market over here,
uh-huh.
in the sense that the networking plays a major role here, very major role.
Yeah.
Now you would have heard that phrase, Candice, that reputation precedes you. Now that is so applicable, I found, for Canadian market,
Yeah,
because even before you actually move to another team, the people already know you based on, because everybody kind of knows everybody.
exactly.
So in India, it can happen that you really do not give that much of importance on your relationship skills.
Uh-huh.
Here you have to, like Canada is comparatively plays much more, gives much more importance to your human skills.
Mhm.
Indian market is a relatively more competitive market compared to Canada. But in Canada, you don't get ahead just trying to be super aggressive.
I see.
Like, of course, like everybody appreciates go getters, right? Like,
Right.
but here in Canada, the politeness is given a much more importance, I would say. Is
I
that, does not matter how great you are at work,
mhm.
but if your people skills are not great, I'm sure you will not be able to go up in the hierarchy.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Which is one thing that I found really different over here.
Mhm.
Coming to the work culture part, actually, Candice, so work culture, I would say, mostly, if even if it actually depends on the companies, like I cannot generalize it,
Yeah, yeah.
but if I have to make a generic statement, I would say that here the importance is given much more to the work life balance.
Uh-huh.
Like Indian market is very similar to the US market, like very cutthroat, you have long working hours, and they don't give much importance to what exactly you are doing outside work and all. But in Canada, actually, people, your managers expect you to have a life outside the work also,
Yeah,
and then they don't try to get into your life beyond the work hours. Like
I
if you
see.
want to work for longer hours, that's your choice, but
Uh-huh.
it's at the end of the day, it's a choice that is given to you. Like
Got
you're not supposed to work. But in India, because of so much competition that we have, like you generally end up working a lot.
got it. Got
So
it.
so those are the couple of differences that I found. And then one more difference that I would like to talk about is, in general, like especially like I have worked in risk management all my
Mhm.
years. Like I was in liquidity risk, then I moved to counterparty credit, and then I'm now in enterprise risk.
Mhm.
There I would say that there is not major difference in terms of your ability to work. And the reason I'm saying is because in India, I am working for, like, people generally work for a lot of multinational companies,
Uh-huh.
and then regulations kind of follow the OSFI sorry, not OSFI, Basel regulation. And
Okay.
OSFI, which is Canadian regulation, in fact almost mimics the Basel regulation. So
Okay.
if you are already covering some other regulation as part of some other bank, say US bank, those regulations are in fact a bit more strict than what OSFI does.
Mhm.
So when you are coming to Canada, if you want to work in a similar work stream, I think you will not face that much of a challenge.
Got.
Uh, because in India you are already getting knowledge across the spectrum because there are so many banks present over there. So
Mhm.
these are the major differences that I found.
So it sounds like from knowledge transfer perspective, there's not a big gap because you already get exposure to what you need to do the job in Canada. But from like soft skill perspective, it sounds like Canada definitely has a higher expectation or higher requirement on candidates who
Yeah,
work.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And regarding your first point, I would like to add just one thing, that if you are working in an offshore arrangement, which is what will happen because you are working from India for a multinational bank,
Yeah.
you are not supposed to know everything. So
Okay.
in the sense that if you have not been very diligent working over there, like you'll face a bit of challenge over here. But if you have been a kind of a go-getter who has been interested in, okay, if I am doing this, there is a particular reason why I'm asked to do this. So if you already have been a bit diligent, I don't think you'll find any challenge at all.
Got it. Got it.
Like,
So sorry. Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to mention one more thing, which I suddenly realized, that
Yeah.
what happened is, that in Canada I found out that the hierarchy, it's not very hierarchical, it's a very flat organization, especially the couple of teams that I worked for, like BMO and RBC. It's relatively a flat organization.
Mhm.
In India it is so hierarchical, and your position actually depends on the number of years of work experience that you have, which I
Uh-huh.
found it very different in Canada. That in Canada you would see people having 10 years of work experience, and then there will be people of having like 30 years of experience reporting to the 10 years of work experience person.
I
That is
see.
something you'll not find it very often in India.
As we mentioned, like previously, like Canadian banking industry is probably very small or like well connected. We have only
Yeah,
five,
yeah.
six major banks, and then in terms of like the job opportunities, in terms of like the location, probably Toronto is the only financial hub in Canada, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Unlike, I don't know if it's the same thing in India. Like, do you have multiple financial hubs where job opportunities are very good in these cities? Or is it also similar to Canada that you have one financial center and people usually work in that one city?
So, like in India, also there is a financial capital, we call it, which is Mumbai, which is where we have our stock exchanges and all. So most of the financial companies, like if you want to have the best chance of getting a great job, you should be in that city, Mumbai. But
Okay.
then there are other cities also, like Bangalore, Pune, and then there are smaller cities with these domestic banks which are also having a presence over there.
Got
But
it.
if you talk majorly, I think it's situated in these 3 4 metro cities, which is like Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi, and Kolkata. But then yeah, this is also like not very different compared to Canada in that sense. Like
I see.
majority of the companies are situated, financial companies especially, are situated in Mumbai and Bangalore.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Cool. Now, if we may ask you more about like how you make the transition, right? How do you move from India to Canada? Is it like a smooth transition? Did you find anything that is difficult, challenging that you have to deal with? Share some experience with us.
Yeah, sure, Candice. So actually, Candice, here I'll take liberty to go beyond what you asked me in the question. And the reason being that my relocation to Canada was a very easy, because there was no risk involved. I already had a job in hand, and I'll talk about that also, like how I had a job in hand. Uh, but before that, I want to explain different ways actually which are available for
Uh,
people of my experience, like my similar kind of background. What are the different ways for them to relocate to Canada? And then because I have a lot of my friends who have joined in those different ways, I could talk about the challenges that they face, and then I'll come about the my part, because I think my part I could cover it in a minute or so.
that's great. Yeah, please.
Yeah, thanks, Candice.
In the next episode, Sanjeev will share three possible ways to move from India to Canada. These are collective experience from him and his friends. So if you're curious about the details, please stay tuned for the next episode. I look forward to see you soon. Bye bye.